Steven and Frederick. And this week's How I Cook is sloppy chicken. At least that's what it was called in my house growing up. It's actually chicken and onions. I thought it was a recipe of my mother's until a few months ago, my cousin Connie posted that she was making this chicken and onion dish that our grandmother Nana taught her. And then all the cousins started commenting how they each had their own version in their house. My cousin Chrissy posted a picture making it for her husband Ed for his birthday. It's his favorite dish. And like I said, I didn't realize that it was a family recipe from my Nana. My cousin Connie said, you'll see it's chicken and onions basically, that when Nana was teaching her to make it, she told her, when you think you've added too many onions, add one more onion. This is a really delicious recipe. Hope you all enjoy it. We're going to start with a cast out iron skillet. I want to thank Alice Hart, a wonderful woman who is no longer with us, who gave me this cast iron skillet around 30 years ago when I bought my first house. It's wonderful. If you don't have a cast iron skillet in your kitchen, get one. They're not expensive. It's been seasoned for 30 years and it is so versatile and so good for many, many recipes. So, I'm going to turn on the heat on the cast iron skillet. I have 8 thighs of chicken. I'm going to season them with the mixture that I've shown you all previously: salt, pepper, and rosemary. I really like the combination of salt, pepper, and rosemary. I'm leaving the skin on and it's bone in. I won't end up eating the skin or serving the skin, but cooking the skin, browning the skin imparts some really good flavors. So, just letting this heat up for a little. I'm not putting any liquid, any shortening butter or anything in the skillet. The thighs are going to render out fat when they brown. Excuse me. And we're going to brown the onions after we brown the chicken. It's a really simple recipe, a recipe that takes quite a few hours, but as you know, I don't mind recipes that take hours as long as I don't have to tend to them. And this is definitely one of those recipes. So, yeah, feels pretty hot. You don't hear the sizzle, but we will. I'm going to squeeze the 8 chicken thighs in the skillet. Okay, so now I'm going to season the other side of the chicken. Salt, pepper, and rosemary. I'm being quite liberal with it. I love salt. Do you have to? Nope. You use what you like. Okay, we're going to leave that to brown. We're going to leave it for quite a while. So, I'm going to start on the onions. I bought a bag of onions. We're going to use all of them. So, cut off the ends. These are yellow onions. If you want to use red onions, or Vidalia onions, or white onions, go ahead. You do you. There are 8 onions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop up 4 of them, check the chicken, probably flip it over, and chop up the other 4. So that was number 4 that I just cut up and put into the bowl. Let's check out the chicken thighs and see how they're doing. I haven't touched them the whole time they've been in here. Okay, they're getting brown, which is nice. Like I said, we're just browning these, and I don't mind that the skin is on. We're not going to be eating the skin, but it's going to impart lots of flavor. So here we go with onion number 8. Throwing that into the bowl. I'm going to quickly rinse my hands, and then we're going to check the chicken. Okay. So the chicken's not fully cooked, but it's cooked enough. It's brown, and it has released quite a bit of fat. Remember, fat equals flavor. This recipe is a recipe I make in cold weather. It's a heavy meal. I'm going to be serving this with mashed potatoes. It's very tasty and perfect for a snowy day. It's snowing today. It's roughly 1 o'clock. So this is going to be in a crock pot for around 5 hours. So a perfect dinner in about 5 hours on a snowy day. This chicken, not cooked, but browned, I'm putting here. I'm turning down the skillet to medium. All the onions, the 8 onions I cut up, I'm loosening the rings. And I'm now going to brown them in the chicken fat. So it's been around 10 minutes, and the onions are pretty brown. Not totally, but pretty brown. I did not tend them for 10 minutes. I did some of the dishes, I cleaned up. You know I don't like to stand and tend to things. But we're ready to put things in the crock pot and let it sit for 5 hours, which is pretty great. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is onion, chicken, onion, chicken, onion. And then some gravy. So I put some vegetable spray in the crock pot. So the base is onion. Now we're going to put 4 of the chicken thighs into the crock pot. The meat is going to fall off the bone. Next, some onion. Little onion on each one of the chicken thighs. And 4 more chicken breasts, chicken thighs, into the crock pot. And then finally, the remaining onions. And this is a variant that I think my mother came up with, because when my cousins and I were discussing the recipe, when we realized that it had traveled around the whole family, I don't think anybody else uses gravy. This is a jar of Heinz chicken gravy. I remember growing up, my mother would use canned Franco-American gravy. All good. What gravy do you like? So I poured out the gravy. What I'm going to do is put a little water in the jar, shake it up to get the additional gravy, but also put it in the pan to help get those bits of onion off the sides and the bottom. Okay, so it looks like everything's been loosened, or most of it. So let's turn off the stove and dump over the chicken. So, what am I going to do? Put the lid on and put it on low for about 5 hours. There we go. Low for about 5 hours. Just going to stay in here and cook. And in about 5 hours, I'll be back. I'll show you how I make mashed potatoes and how we serve this over the mashed potatoes. As I said before, this is not a heart-healthy meal. This is a really good meal for a cold, snowy day. All right, see you in 5 hours. Okay, so it's a little over 5 hours, and I've turned the crock pot down to warm. The house smells amazing. It's a mixture of chicken and onions and juices and gravy. It just is wonderful. So around 30 or 35 minutes ago, I put red new potatoes in a pot, covered it with water, and turned it on high. It took around 20 minutes to boil, and then I let them boil between 10 and 15 minutes, checking them for tenderness. I'm going to drain them and then show you how I make mashed potatoes. This is 3 pounds of red new potatoes. This is a stick of butter. This is now a stick of butter in red new potatoes. Okay, push down, lock, and start on runaway potato. So I like to incorporate the butter into the potatoes first. Then we'll see how much sour cream I need or how much milk I need. So the butter's pretty much incorporated. I'm going to add quite a bit of sour cream. Not the whole tub, but quite a bit. And now I'm going to lock that and incorporate sour cream. I'm just going to rinse my hands. So we have the butter in, we have the sour cream in, pushing some of the potatoes out, and now I'm going to add milk. I have 1% milk here today. Have I used half and half? Yep. Again, this is not a heart-healthy recipe. This is a really good, hearty recipe for a snowy, cold day. How much milk? Let's call that a 1/4 cup. And then the last 2 things I'm going to add are salt and pepper. How much salt? That much. Maybe a little more. How much pepper? That much. And maybe a little more sour cream. And let's mix it around. So the mashed potatoes are done. The chicken is done. Time to plate. I have 2 extra bowls here for chicken skin. We're not going to be eating the chicken skin. The dogs are going to really like it. And bones. So you don't really need to see all that, but the chicken comes off the bone really nicely. So let me show you how I serve this. A generous helping of mashed potatoes in the bowl. I make a well, pushing the mashed potatoes to the sides. This side needs a little more. I then go in and put chicken in the center, and then some gravy. Excuse me. It is so good. We're going to leave it at that. Chicken and onions over mashed potatoes. This is the way I cook. Thank you for watching. Tell your family and friends. And until next time, have a great week.